You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Good afternoon. My name is Rafael Salaverrios. I am Senior Vice President for the Division of Small Business Capital Access, and I am the designee for New York Empowerment Zone Chair Hope Knight, President and CEO of Empire Development. I now call to order the meeting of the Directors of the New York Empowerment Zone Corporation for today, Tuesday, August 29th. I'd like to note for the record that due to public health concerns and as authorized by an executive order of the governor, this meeting will be conducted by teleconference. I will also note for the record that the public has been given opportunities to comment on the agenda by submitting their written comments at or on before 5 p.m. yesterday to the New York Empowerment Zone. I'd like to further note for the record that no comments were received from the public concerning today's agenda terms. The directors have received the relevant written materials in advance of today's meetings and are free to ask questions at any time. Before we begin the meeting, I would like to ask the directors whether anyone has any potential conflict of interest with respect to any of the agenda items. If so, I would like you to please make an appropriate disclosure on the record at this time. We will then be sure that you may recuse yourself from any discussion or vote regarding such item.
No conflict.
Hearing none, we will note it for the record. The first item for consideration will be the Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone Development Corporation.
Yashanya Hill.
Yashanya Hill, please present the Economic Recovery and Capacity Building Initiative.
Thank you, Ray. Yashanya Hill is absent. However, I will present on her behalf. This is the proposal for a pilot economic recovery capacity building grant program for Upper Manhattan workforce development providers. The initiative is in your materials.
Yes.
And has been reviewed. 2 years ago, the Workforce Opportunity Investment Team at UMass began to formalize work plans for a post-COVID-19 period and realign our funding priorities to strengthen the local workforce economic system in Upper Manhattan so that we could accelerate the recovery and reduce some of the inequities that exist. The experience of the workforce providers who are knowledgeable about the communities they serve, as well as the job seekers and the families that they also serve, have been crucial for meeting community needs for employment assistance and helping to center recovery on equity and economic mobility. In response to that research, UMass proposes to create a pilot program in the amount of $350,000. This was informed by a listening tour conducted by UMass staff with many workforce providers in Upper Manhattan, workforce development intermediaries, policymakers, and funders. The pilot program will help up to 8 workforce providers identify and address some of their most pressing capacity building needs through unrestricted general operating funds. Prospective grantees will be able to receive a one-time grant ranging from $10,000 to $50,000 for up to an 18-month period. And that is the proposal that we are making, and on behalf of UMass, we're requesting the board to consider this for approval. Happy to answer any questions if there are.
I have any questions or comments from directors. I have no questions or comments. I think this is a good idea. I read through the proposal. I found it very, very good initiative and one we should definitely move forward with.
Okay.
All right. So, if any questions or so, then I ask for a motion to move forward.
And I second.
Yeah, you can first.
You can first.
Okay, I'll move.
Second.
Hearing no responses, this has been approved. Rich, I'm good, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we go on to the next initiative, which is the UMass budget, I believe.
No,
Lower
Lower Manhattan.
We'll go for the, if we may, we'll introduce the Lower Manhattan
Lower
Cultural
Manhattan.
Council grant.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
The UMass Arts Engagement
Let's do that.
Program. Thank you. Nikki Rayner is out today, so in her stead, I will be presenting for the cultural team. UMass proposes a one-year grant of up to $354,000 to the Lower Manhattan Cultural Council to continue the UMass Arts Engagement grants for calendar year 2024. The amount to be regranted would be up to $300,000. Administrative costs for this program, which will be spread over a 22-month term, would be $54,000 from UMass. An additional $103,300 of administrative costs will be provided by LMCC. This year, the UMass Arts Engagement Program achieves a significant accomplishment by dedicating $2 million since 2018 through 320 grants to 174 unique grant recipients across Upper Manhattan. What we've seen up through 2022 is that these grants have totaled $1.5 million, but more importantly, they've leveraged an additional $2.6 million, bringing the total expenditures to $4.1 million. That means, and of that, 70% or $2.8 million of that was paid to artists so that they had income and it was work for the projects on those personnel at those projects. Over 400,000 people attended well over 1,000 events. The program provides direct support to these activities to Upper Manhattan artists and nonprofit art organizations under the principle that to support the interests of artists in diverse disciplines, practices, cultural backgrounds, and career stages contributes to the vibrancy and sustainability of communities in which we live and work in Upper Manhattan. As part of this particular program, what we've been able to do is to see that the prospective grantees will receive a one-time grant ranging from $10,000 to $50,000. Up to $10,000 in terms of grants to individual artists. One of the things is that the LMCC has really worked with us to have a rigorous approach to outreach in the communities that have significant Black, Latin, and immigrant artists. Approximately 1/2 of the applicants identify as such. And the growth of the pool of applicants really reflects the success of the program. Back in 2018, there were 68 applicants. We've seen an average of 50 new applicants every year. This past year, over 127 people applied, and that was a record high for this year, for that year. So we're asking that this re-grant, $354,000, be considered by the directors. $300,000 again will be re-granted, and $54,000 will be contributed toward administrative costs. So if there are any other questions, I'm happy to answer. If not, I ask that this be considered for approval.
Any questions or comments from the directors?
No.
Any questions or comments from the public? There are none. I will entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we're on to the next one. Thank you. This motion has been approved and carried on. I guess Mr. Anyanyeli will present. The last item was UMES's administrative budget for fiscal year 2024. Did I say that right? I didn't say your last name right, did I?
No, that's
Can you say it? I want to say it right.
Mr. Oniidi.
Oh, no, Needy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm going to be presenting the UMES FY24 budget. And I know we have given Ohad a copy of the budget, and yes, pass them around. Now, our FY24 budget compared to 23 expenses is actually flat because we actually went down on our expenses about 135,000. And basically, we are budgeting for revenue and 7.4 million compared to 6.8 that we budgeted last year. And most of the increase in our budgeting of this revenue is we are expecting a grant of 1.5 million from the federal government on the CDFI program. Due to the increase in bank interest rate, we are projecting that we will bring more 1.34 million in interest income, and we intend on collecting about $400,000 more in loan interest. Like I said earlier on about our expenses, we are able to decrease our budget for salaries and fringe benefits by about 560,000, which is a reduction of 16.98. But this money was shifted into the temporary and also staff and consulting services, which we increased by 300,000. We did this to attract experienced and quality talent and achieve cost savings at the same time. And the other major increase is the investment fees, and that is due to the value of our investment growing up in 2022. Before, it used to be that we account for it through our general purposes, but we figure that we have to show that now that the cost is getting up there. But every other expenditure, except for the salary and the two areas that I have mentioned now, remain the same compared to the previous year. And if you have any questions, I'm ready, I will answer them.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments from the directors? Any questions or comments from the public? I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Thank you, Tunde. The UMass budget for the fiscal year 2024 has been approved.
Thank you, sir.
Is there any other business? If none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Here, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all very much. This meeting of the directors of the New York Empowerment Zone Corporation is now closed. Thank you. We gotta catch
Well
up.
done.
I got it. We gotta catch up on what we talked about.
Okay.